President Buhari inaugurates Council on Executive Order No. 5 and directs MDAs to give priority to Nigerian professionals. Federal government meets with ASU to review 2020 Memorandum of Understanding. Plus, update on Kaba Omoe-Ekiti Federal Highway. All this and more on Panorama this Friday. I'm Naja'atu Tijani. The federal government has promised to do whatever it takes within the ambit of the law towards ensuring the full implementation of Executive Order No. 5, aimed at creating wealth, strengthening the nation's economy, reducing poverty, and providing job opportunities. President Muhammadu Buhari made the promise while inaugurating the Presidential Monitoring and Evaluation Council in respect of the executive order. He also charged MDAs to henceforth give priority to indigenous professionals in the planning, design and execution of national projects. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The Executive Order 5 was signed by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2015 as an instrument to midwife a new beginning towards expanding Nigeria's indigenous capacity as well as transforming the nation's economy from resource-based to knowledge-based and innovation-driven.
The Presidential Executive Order No. 5, in essence, is placing our manufacturers, our entrepreneurs, our professionals at the very center of economic activity.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who is to chair the Monitoring and Evaluation Council, directed that henceforth consideration shall only be given to foreigners in the execution of national projects when appropriate authority certifies that such expertise is not available in Nigeria.
The federal government shall introduce margin of reference in national competitive bidding in contracts, in the evaluation of tenders from indigenous suppliers of goods manufactured locally over foreign goods. All MDAs shall ensure that for all consultancy contracts awarded to foreign companies, engineering drawings, necessary calculations, design, etc., are made available to their corresponding Nigerian partners towards local production of needed materials. Designs for all contracts, programs, projects, etc. shall be in English language before signing such contracts.
Ministries, departments and agencies have also been ordered to ensure that all professionals practicing in Nigeria are duly registered with appropriate regulatory bodies, while suppliers and contractors under national competitive bidding process shall disclose available local materials needed for the execution of the projects.
The Ministry of Interior shall ensure that the expatriate quota for projects, contracts and programs are granted according to the provisions of the Immigration Act and other relevant laws. This will apply where qualifications and competence of Nigerian nationals are not available or cannot be ascertained, which shall be contingent on training such a number of persons as may be required for the execution of the contract or project.
The Federal Ministries of Science, Technology and Innovation, as well as that of Justice, are under instruction to facilitate the early passage of the bill for the Executive Order 5 at the National Assembly.
I must say this is perhaps the best thing that has happened to the manufacturing sector of Nigeria ever. I believe that we are now set to create the kind of economy that Nigeria deserves and has always had the capacity to achieve. And we have everything. We have the market, we have the resources, we have indeed the talent to be able to do it. I'm so delighted that President Muhammadu Buhari has now exerted the political will to back up the growth of our industries.
The Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, where the Secretariat of the Council is domiciled, will be supported by the Strategy Implementation Task Office to facilitate the administration, implementation, monitoring and evaluation of provisions of the Executive Order Number 5. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has played host to the head of the United Nations Development Programme Africa Bureau, UNDP, Ahunna Ezeakanwa, expressing Nigeria's formal appreciation to the UNDP for its support in diverse ways, especially in stabilizing the Northeast. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Visiting the State House after an assessment tour of the Northeast, the head of the UNDP Regional Bureau for Africa, Nigerian-born Ahunna Ezeakanwa, described as delightful the incredible progress being made in helping people restore their livelihoods. She noted with satisfaction that teachers and students are now back in schools, police stations being rebuilt, and healthcare centers being reconstructed.
It was incredible, Mr. President, to see the hope restored in these communities and the teeming number of people who have returned. And it really gave us courage and hope that we could continue to invest in such a way that we empty out the IDP camps.
The UNDP Regional Bureau Head for Africa thanked Nigeria for the opportunity given the UN agency to play a role as well as the space to address COVID-19 through the Basket Fund as well as tap into Nigerian youth dynamism.
I want to say that we really congratulate you for launching the Jubilee program, Mr. President, because we see it as an example for the rest of the world, how we can engage our youth and give them a chance to prosper through a program like this. My ministry looks forward to building on more stronger partnerships with UNDP and all other UN agencies in alleviating poverty as we work towards achieving Mr. President's vision of uplifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty by the year 2030.
President Muhammadu Buhari said the federal government will continue doing its best to rehabilitate IDPs and return them to their ancestral homes, saying, however, that with meager resources, assistance from bodies like the UNDP comes handy.
And I assure you that we appreciate your contribution in so many ways, and we are doing our best to stabilize the situation in North West and North Central, and we have to make sure that we keep on reminding our people to continue to build the country.
He said as a developing nation, Nigeria can't hop, step and jump, but must pass through the process of development. President Buhari noted that Ezeakunwa, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala of the World Trade Organization, and Amina Mohammed of the United Nations are some of the women doing Nigeria proud internationally. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And still on rendering assistance, the federal government is urging insurance companies in Nigeria to improve efficiency and honor claims in good time. President Muhammadu Buhari made the plea while granting audience to members of the Governing Council of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, who paid him a courtesy visit. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo again reports.
The visit by the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria to the State House was to formally confer on President Muhammadu Buhari its highest award, the Grand Patron of the Institute, in appreciation of his sustained interest in the insurance sector. President Buhari commended the leadership of the Institute for bringing some sanity into the Nigerian insurance industry, as well as giving more visibility to the importance of the industry in national development.
As you continue in your work of contributing to national development, I want to urge you to further increase the number of Nigerians and businesses that would benefit from and be benefited by the insurance industry. As you are well aware, you need to dispel misconceptions about the insurance industry presently held by a good number of Nigerians, especially as it relates to claims and need for insurance.
While appreciating the $500 million support by the insurance industry in the fight against COVID-19, the president promised to sustain collaborative efforts at ensuring that the country maximizes its contribution to socio-economic growth.
It is my commitment to leave a sustainable growth and development legacy by the end of this administration. I therefore want to count on your continuous support to join our hands and hearts together to create the Nigeria we want.
The president of the institute, Muftau Oyegunle, lauded the Buhari administration's sustained efforts at eliminating poverty in the country through laudable initiatives such as the National Social Investment Programs. The programs and many others, he said, have impacted Nigerians, assuring that the inclusion of insurance in the policy formulation of the great initiatives will guarantee sustainability.
We also want to assure you that the Institute and indeed the Nigerian insurance industry will continue to support your administration.
The Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria was led to the State House by the Secretary to the Governor of the Federation, Boss Mustafa. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
We'll take a break now. Panorama continues after the timeout. Stay tuned.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country free of coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
The Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar, has expressed dismay over the attitude of some Nigerians using social media to tarnish the image of prominent personalities. This was during a courtesy call by the President, Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Samson Ayokunle. Shehu Muhammad Dati reports.
Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar described as unfair how some Nigerians use social media to tarnish the image and good names of personalities. He advised Nigerians who engage in such act to desist and be their brother's keeper. He described coming together and the unity of Nigerians as paramount to national development. The monarch informed his guests that the Caliphate had written more than 300 books on Islamic jurisprudence and other works of jihad leaders, among which 100 were translated in Hausa and English by the Sultan himself.
It is very important for us to continue to reach out to one another, to continue to respect one another, and to rise up together to understand one another.
The President, Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Samson Ayokunle, appreciated the warm reception accorded him and his entourage. He extolled the leadership style of the Sultan, which he said is worthy of emulation. He described Sokoto as home for all, irrespective of ethnic or religious backgrounds.
We have been seeing some improvements, but we can do better. So we will not allow them to rest until they have secured every citizen of this nation by the grace of God.
Meanwhile, the current president, Reverend Samson Ayokunle, had earlier met with different Christian denominations in Sokoto State. Unity of Nigeria by all faith, insecurity, among others, topped the main issues discussed at a meeting. The current president, Reverend Samson, said the country would move forward if Nigerians remain united. In Sokoto, Shehu Muhammad Dati, NTA News.
The Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngigi, says disbursement of the 30 billion naira revitalization fund for public universities is expected to commence by the end of October 2021. Dr. Ngigi made this known after a meeting between representatives of the government and ASU. Joseph Otsen reports.
A certain level of implementation of the 2020 Memorandum of Understanding signed by both parties is what on the table. But the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, is not sounding happy as agreement reached in previous engagements are yet to manifest.
Many of our colleagues have still not been paid since February 2020. And the reason IPs is given, I hope they are here, the reason they are giving is that they don't have IPs number.
Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngigi, appeals for calm and solicits for a closed-door dialogue. At the end of the day's discussion, the minister says modalities are in place to commence disbursement of revitalization fund to public universities and the over 22 billion naira and academic allowances.
38 universities and an agric center benefited from that. Some other universities will not get because they didn't pass the test. They were now asked to go back and get certain things. So they're coming back. I think there are about 11 universities.
Other issues discussed include inconsistency in IPPIS, University Transparency Accountability Solution, and the 2009 renegotiation agreement, which parties agreed to continue seeking amicable solutions. In Abuja, Joseph Otsen, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government says the recent directive for employees to show proof of COVID-19 vaccination to gain access to their offices is to safeguard work environment and not make vaccination compulsory for public servants. The Executive Director, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Faisal Shuaib, made the clarification saying there are sufficient vaccines to take care of the present demand. Olusheye Adiagbo reports.
The position presented by the chairman of the Presidential Steering Committee is one that gives choices to all Nigerians, that you either show proof of vaccination, having been vaccinated, or if you do not want to get vaccinated, then you have to show proof that you are COVID-19 negative. And the way to show that proof is by presenting a negative PCR test taken 72 hours prior. So this is not making the vaccine compulsory or mandatory as some media houses have reported.
Dr. Faisal Shuaib, Executive Director, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, explains the supply chain in place to take prompt delivery of vaccines into Nigeria and warns against the trend of people producing and selling fake COVID-19 vaccination cards.
We are working with relevant security agencies to make examples of these individuals who may wish to buy or sell cards by ensuring that we name them and we shame them.
For anyone who does feel that they have any reservations, these are vaccines that have been produced through lots of scientific studies, and we can assure you that for us sitting here, we've had the opportunity to take the jab, and we can confidently attest to the fact of the safety of the vaccines.
Partners in the national response to the pandemic encourage all eligible Nigerians to avail themselves of vaccination now that the country is enjoying support in vaccine supply, management and operations. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
Travelers plying the Kaba-Umoe-Ekiti Federal Highway can now heave a sigh of relief as rehabilitation has begun on the Iyamoye axis through the efforts of the House of Representatives member representing Yaba Federal Constituency, Leke Abejide. Jonathan Omajali reports.
Kaba-Umoe-Ekiti Federal Highway has been in the news, but for the wrong reasons.
People will sleep here. If you are current here, you will discover that a lot of people sleep here 4 or 5 days on this road. The road is too bad.
3 months after free flow of traffic along the Iyamoye axis became a rare sight due to a failed section of the road, the cries of the people are beginning to yield fruit, with the House of Representatives member for Yaba Federal Constituency Leke Abejide stepping into the situation. The rehabilitation work, which will last for 6 days, will address the major areas of concern.
The drainage is more important. So we're going to do the drainage to channel the water down to the bridge.
From Iyamuye, I am Jonathan Omajali.
Food security is central to the agenda of the federal government, and women constitute an appreciable percentage in the agricultural value chain. The Ministry of Women Affairs is therefore rolling out activities to address challenges facing rural women in the agricultural sector. Ngozi Silva Technical reports.
I'm farming corn and beans. So people cannot move out to go to farm freely because of napping and other things that are going on.
I want Nigeria to help us.
These are hardworking women whose resilience in the home front and other areas of life are glaring, though they are sometimes looked down on as illiterates, victims of insurgency and various forms of gender-based violence, among other cultural norms against women. The United Nations General Assembly set aside 15th and 16th of October every year to globally bring to the front burner challenges bedeviling these voiceless members of the society.
Do you know that when you empower those rural women, by the time they have developed self-esteem, a woman who used to bribe with 1 mudu of rice to change her vote, if she's now selling bags of rice, can you buy her vote again?
Issues of insecurity and unavailability of land for agricultural purposes were highlighted as needing urgent action by the government. Different products by these women were also showcased. Ngozi Silva Technical, NTA News.
Now let's see what's happening in the world of sports.